So today we're gonna talk about this PC, and this is the first PC I have ever built in my life. I also haven't used a PC in over 10 years now. All I've used were MacBooks. So in this video, we're gonna do a build breakdown of this PC and tell you guys why we chose each part. To keep things in perspective, I don't know what RAM does or a CPU. I don't really know what a motherboard does exactly. But luckily, with the help of my brother, he gave me notes on everything. So now you guys can see why we chose the parts that we did. So shout out to my brother, he's the smart one and he knows everything about tech. Let's start with the basics of what's needed to build a PC. We need a case, a power supply, also known as a PSU, a motherboard, a processor, also known as a CPU cooler, RAM, and data storage, and last but not least, a video card. Oh, and the last thing we need are fans. So I called up my brother one day and said, I need to build a PC to sim race in VR and do all my photo and video editing and not have any issues for the next 3 to 5 years. And from there, he made a list of parts on an Excel sheet. I purchased the parts and here we are. A pile of boxes of computer parts, and I have no idea how to put any of this together. All right. I'm gonna need my phone for this. These are all the notes my brother gave me as to why we got every single part. So for the case, we went with the Coolmaster NR200P. It's basically the best value to feature ITX case that's widely available right now. It also has a lot of community support for mods. A lot of people do a lot of creative stuff with this on how to tuck the wires, where to put fans, putting bigger graphics cards. There's so much you could do with this case, and it was on Amazon for less than $100. I also wanted to go with a smaller case to save me space on my rig or on my desk. For the power supply, we went with the Corsair SF1000L. We could have settled for the 750 watt, but the 1000 watt allows the PSU to not reach anywhere near its full load when gaming, so it doesn't get hot, and the fan also doesn't run anywhere near 100%. We also could have gone with the SFX, but the SFXL size allows for a bigger fan, which are generally quieter than the smaller fans. And it also uses Corsair's new Type 5 cable, which helps with tight spacing. For the motherboard, we went with the Asus ROG Strix Z690i gaming Wi-Fi. I needed Thunderbolt for video editing and transferring large files ultra fast. So the only real options if using an Intel 14th gen processor was the Asus Z690 and the Z790 ITX boards. We could have gone with the Z790 chipset board, but with a BIOS update, the Z690 is compatible with the 14th gen Intel processor. The difference between the Z790 and the Z690 really don't affect my needs and the parts I'm using. For example, the Z790 boards can use up to a DDR5 7600 megahertz, but the memory I bought is only DDR5 6400 megahertz. I also got a great deal on the Z690 on Amazon. Also, there's lots of good rear input-output connectivity. For the CPU, we went with the Intel Core i7 14700K. I don't know if that's how you say it, but we were originally gonna go with the Intel i9 13900K because of my video processing workload, but the i7 14700K came out and it provides basically the same performance at a much lower cost, and it's much easier to cool than a 13900K. The 14th gen is also easier to cool and gives more performance per watt, especially if undervolting. Now for the CPU cooler, we went with the Thermalite Phantom Spirit 120 SE. We were originally gonna go with a Noctua, Deep Cool, or Be Quiet cooler, but this Thermalite cooler matches, or if not beats most of the coolers at half to a third of the price and at a smaller size. This is more than enough cooling to cool the 14700K. We didn't go with AIO liquid cooling because we wanted this to last at least 5 years, and I didn't want to risk the chance of the pump failing during video processing. Also, AIO liquid cooling would be kind of difficult to fit in this small of a case. We are running it in reverse, so that means we are pulling the cold air from the rear fan. This gives us better temps rather than if we were using the air coming from the graphics card radiator. Also, we chose the SE version instead of the regular version because it's short enough to allow us to use the tempered glass side that comes with the case. For the RAM, we went with the Corsair Vengeance RGB DDR5 64 gig, 6400 megahertz CL32. 64 gigs means I can run any program that I want and nothing will slow down, even when I'm gaming. I run a lot of Adobe programs all at once since I'm photo editing, video editing, so hopefully this allows it to run smoother. 6400 megahertz is also a relatively fast DDR5 speed, and more than enough for my needs. We also went with the RGB version because it was only a $10 difference. For data storage, we went with the Samsung 990 Pro SSD 2TB. Samsung makes very reliable memory. There were some early firmware issues with the 990 series, but firmware has since fixed that. This is a very fast drive with high IOPS, and it has a long warranty and life expectancy. For the video card, which I think is one of the coolest parts of this whole build, we went with the MSI GeForce RTX 4090 Supreme Liquid Cooling. It's hard to find 4090s in stock, but we did find a place. We were gonna go with an air-cooled 4090, but the ones that were available were just too long to fit this case. For example, the Asus ROG Strix 4090. This one that we got was available at the same price as the other 4090s at Micro Center, and the card was much shorter, so it's easier to fit in the case. Even though air-cooled is technically more reliable, this would give me better performance for VR, and it would run quieter than the air-cooled 4090s. It also has a silent mode where the radiator fans don't even run. It also gave us a nice engineering challenge to try to get this to fit in this case. Okay, now for the fans. I didn't know you can get super detailed and picky on which fans you choose, but I guess you can. So let's break it down. The rear fan is a Noctua NF-A9 PWM Chromax. This is for the rear of the case, which has a 92mm fan mount. This is the best 92mm fan out there. It has a high airflow, good static pressure, quiet operation, and anti-vibration mounts. The CFM is 46.4. Now for the top rear fan, it is a Be Quiet Silent Wings Pro 4 120mm PWM 3000 RPM premium low noise cooling fan. This is basically the best 120mm fan you can buy, as long as you don't care about RGB. It has a 6-pole motor, which is silent. It comes with different mounts for different uses, like a special radiator mount to improve static pressure when mounted to a radiator. It has a CFM of 83.9. The top front fan now is the Silverstone Air Slimmer 120. We needed a slim fan up front because we used the SFXL sized PSU. Again, this is basically the best 120mm fan we can get performance-wise, and it's pretty quiet too. The CFM on this one is 63.67. I'm running all 3 chassis fans from a single motherboard 4-pin PWM header. I'm able to control the fan speeds with the Asus AI Suite app or from the BIOS. I'm not gonna lie, building this thing was brutal. My brother walked me through every single little thing on how to install these parts. This is not an exaggeration at all. I think I FaceTimed my brother for a total of 12 hours at least to build the PC and download all the whatever programs, drivers, windows, whatever, and then troubleshooting when it wouldn't start. There was just a million things, but we made it happen. The PC runs, it turns on, everything's good to go. I recorded the first few hours thinking it was gonna be like a simple one evening build, but lo and behold, it was another 10+ hours and I'm not gonna record all of that. Figuring out plumbing and tucking wires and then also drilling a hole into the case, it really reminded me of working on cars, which made this a little bit more enjoyable. So the bottom fans are actually outside of the case. To make this work, I got these extended legs on Etsy. They work, but it's kind of cheap quality. When I tried to lift the PC one time holding the legs, I heard a crack and like now it's wobbly. So I don't know if I recommend getting these. I mean, they work. It's not gonna tip over or anything, but if there's a stronger version of these that I don't know about and you guys do, write in the comments. I don't mind swapping these out. Overall, I am very, very happy with how this turned out. It actually looks like a PC. It actually runs. I didn't think any of this would happen. I really appreciate my brother for helping me troubleshoot this whole build. Hopefully this helped you guys in any way, shape, or form. Whether you guys are building a PC for the first time, or trying to sim race, or trying to game in general. If you guys have any questions at all, write it down in the comments, let me know, and hopefully I can help you guys. In the next video, we're gonna mount everything to the rig, and we're gonna wire it up. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.